Good morning, everybody. It's time to get your work week started off, and not a better way to do it than to start out with Be Still. And this week, we're going to be talking about underdogs. I got a couple of stories for you. The first story is about a 21-year-old who had a desire and ambition to play on the PGA Tour. That's all he ever wanted to do was play on the PGA Tour. And he went to a qualifier for a PGA Tour event, and he found himself in the qualifier with 5 holes to play at even par. Now, for any of those that know anything about PGA Tour qualifying, you'll know that that even par is not going to get you anywhere. So with 5 holes left to play, something miraculous was going to have to happen. Well, he birdies the 14th hole. Then he hits it to about 18, 19 feet, makes the putt on the 15th hole for birdie. Goes to the 16th, a par 5, makes a tap-in birdie there. Then goes to the 17th, a par 3, hits it to about 8 feet, 9 feet, but just misses the putt. And then goes to the 18th hole, which is a reachable par 5. Knocks it on the green in 2 to about 6 feet with a downhill putt breaking to the left, and knocks it in the hole for an eagle. 5 holes, 5 under par, 67. From there, he's got to wait out the rest of the day because he teed off in the morning. And he waits and he waits and he waits. And then they take the top 4 players from the whole field, advance into that PGA Tour event. Advance through the qualifier for that PGA Tour event. So he waits and he waits and he waits. One group after another comes in, and he gets knocked down farther and farther. And now he sits in 4th place, the last qualifying spot. And there's 2 more groups out on the golf course. He waits with anticipation, heart racing. The next group comes in, another 67. Doesn't push him out of the top 4. But now, at the very, very least, he's going to have a playoff. Then the final group comes in, another 67. Now 3 players at 67. Tied for the 4th spot, which means one thing: still has a chance. So they go to a playoff. They go to the 10th hole. A short par 4, slight bend to the right. All the players hit their tee shots. Everybody's in play. Everybody's in the fairway or close to the fairway. This player, he hits his first shot. He's got a wedge in his hand, but he hits it because the adrenaline's just pumping so hard. He hits it a little bit too far, hits it about 30, 35 feet behind the hole. The other 2 players, they hit their shots to within 15 feet, just below the hole, uphill putts. So as they're walking up to the green, trying to compose themselves, reading their putts, going about their business, this player crouches down behind his ball to read the putt, and he reads it. In fact, he already knows what the last several feet of this putt's going to do because he had that putt earlier in regulation. And before he gets up from reading his putt, he looks down at the ground, closes his eyes, and he says a prayer, and he says, "Lord, if you help me make this putt, I promise you I will serve you to the best of my ability." Player stands up, goes through his routine, strokes the putt, center cut, makes it for birdie. Now he's still got to stand there as the other 2 hit their putts, because if they make one, then the playoff continues. One by one, each player hits their putt and misses. This 21-year-old from nowhere, southwestern part of Virginia, has accomplished his goal at the age of 21 of qualifying in a PGA Tour event. But he said a prayer that the Lord's going to hold him to, that he had to serve him. Let me read you another underdog story. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible, because it's a true underdog story in a lot of different ways. It's about Samson. If you turn back to Judges, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you go back to Judges in the Bible and start out at about chapter 13, that's the birth of Samson, and read all the way through chapter 16, you can read the whole story about Samson. Quite the character, let me tell you. But I want to read you this last part. And it says here, this is chapter 16, verse 25. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All the rulers of the Philistines were there. And on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "O sovereign Lord, remember me, O God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." See, the Philistines had gouged out his eyes. They'd been after Samson for a long time. And then it says, then Samson reached toward the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them. His right hand on the one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all of his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than when he lived. Then his brothers and his father's whole family went down to get him. They brought him back and buried him. He had led Israel, or judged Israel, they said, for 20 years. So that was his last big hurrah, his last fight, his last battle. But you see what he said? He prayed there. He said, "Lord, O sovereign Lord, remember me, O God. Please strengthen me just once more." That was my prayer on that first playoff hole, basically. But, and as I've told y'all in previous weeks, sometimes you have to draw upon past successes, or sometimes you need to, maybe it's personal successes where you remember, I've made this putt before. This is just like a putt that I had this other time. Or this is just like a shot that I had this other time. You can draw, and I hit a great shot, or I made a great putt whenever I had that putt. You can draw upon those things to help you in those situations. But for me, I had never been in that situation before, not ever. And it's something that I desperately wanted more than anything in the world at that point in time. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the strength to make this putt, so I'm going to say a little prayer before I hit it. And I have no doubts that the Lord helped me make that putt and allowed a childhood dream to come true. But I desperately needed his help, just like Samson needed his help in those last moments as well. So I would just here's the moral to this story. Again, everybody loves an underdog. I'm probably an ultimate underdog in a lot of different ways, but with God's strength, and it tells us in here, you can move mountains. In Samson's situation, he could move pillars and brought down the Philistines more so than he ever had in the past whenever he was judging. There's a lot of power in God. And I'm not telling you he's going to give you everything that you've ever wanted or ever desired, or dreams come true or anything like that. But you can rely on him. If you look behind me, there's the froggy's fallen. This froggy's my little girl's froggy. And I don't know if you can see that right there, but it says, fully rely on God. Frog. And so, just like I did, and just like Samson did, you can fully rely on God. And he's going to put you where he wants you to be. And there's no circumstance too big, too strong, too tall for him to get you through. He'll be able to get you through all of it. And so that's going to be your message for today. Everybody's an underdog. We need God's help at all times. And so be fully reliant upon him, and he will see you through. And who knows the victories that you might experience this week that will be above and beyond whatever you dreamed of. I hope y'all have a great week this week, and look forward to seeing y'all again next week on Be Still.